Hi, this is Jack Downs, and we do a little screencast of the gallery exercise with Flexbox, the new gallery exercise. So let's get going. You already have instructions about downloading files and having a subfolder for the images and so on. So if you get that stuff downloaded and get in the right place, you will end up here. With the HTML document open, yes, you can. I'll let you go ahead and put your name in there and other things like putting your name in the H1 and so on too, as explained in the instructions. When you run it for the first time, it'll look something like this with your name and so on in. It's got a single image, and it's a fake caption, and you also see that the caption is too long for the image. And if we go look at that area, we'll see, we'll go down there, there is a paragraph with an image in it, and a paragraph with a caption, and they're not contained in any way. First thing we have to do is create a div around this photo and caption so they can be handled together. Whether we're flexing them or floating them, there have to be some container around both of them. So please put a div around each one. Close the div. I like how it lights up. And we're going to give this a div and ID. ID equals quotation marks of gallery item. There we are, gallery item. Yeah, okay, good. So, by itself, this isn't doing a whole lot, but we also have to be able to style this caption. We're going to tell the caption to have a class of caption. Sorry. The div has an ID, the gallery has a class. Actually, I'm sorry. The div has a class, and this makes sense because it's repeated. And the paragraph with the caption has a class. And we'll call this class equals caption. Good. Okay, so this whole unit is set up together, but not much is happening to it. We could do some styling to make that caption look proper, to behave properly. And by the way, you already have a dot caption here. Let's go ahead and give it the width of the same thing as the, colon, same width as the image, which is 300 pixels. And let's go ahead and make it bold. And let's tell it to have a little font size bigger than normal. Whoa, 0.2, 1.2. And let's tell it to have a little less line height than normal. We don't need any units on line height. It'd be the same thing as EMs. Okay, so let's run this. Save this all and run it. All right, so now our caption is styled properly on our little image. Now we want to duplicate this image 5 times, and then we're going to change the number because we have 6 images sitting there waiting to go in. Rather than retyping all this stuff, what I suggest is we make one kind of generic one like this, and now I'm going to go down and paste it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. And I'm going to change the image name to, instead of cab 1 for the first one, cab 2 for the second one, cab 3 for the third one, cab 4 for the fourth one, cab 5, you get the idea, right? And so on. Save this and run it. Guess what? We've got a bunch of Trump cabinet members, and all their images are in here correctly now. Okay, so we've got to tell these guys to flex. So we have to put a container around the whole thing, all of them, not the whole thing, all of them. So starting right here, I'll tab in a little bit. I'm going to make a div. I'm going to give it an ID in this case. Is this, am I going to use an ID? Yeah, an ID, that's right. This is what I'm going to use an ID, because it's only doing this once. ID equals, we'll call it container, which is the traditional name we give it. And we'll scroll way down here and we'll close a div. Just before the footer. Lights up nicely. All right, nothing is going to happen until we do something with that container, and here is a container. Why don't we tell that to flex? X. Well, that's sort of going to work. Let's see. It kind of does, but they're all jammed together, right? They're all flexed in one line. And that's not what we want to because we want them to wrap. So we say flex wrap, wrap. Okay, so now the wrap, is that better? Yes, it is. They're wrapping on the next line, but there's no space between them. Okay, we could handle that a couple ways. We could tell them to have justify space around. That would do it. We'll take whatever space there is and we'll add space around them. Actually, that's justify content. Space around. Let's run that. Okay, that's starting to look nicer. The only issue with this is because there's no margins or anything. When we start to make it narrower, watch what happens. It gets narrower, it gets narrower. It would essentially, they would just touch before they broke another line. And we probably don't want them getting that close together. It's going to make it hard to read. So we do want to have some margins in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and add a margin. This is going to be a gallery item area. And we're going to tell it to have some margin on the left and the right and on the bottom, because we want one row not to be jamming into the next one. But not on the top. So using the trouble system, 0, 10px, 20px, 10px. So 20 top, left, right, 10. Sorry, 20 bottom, left, right, 10. We'll run that. It's changed a little bit. It's given a little extra space here. We're still using the space around system, right? And when it gets narrower, and all of a sudden we'll bump and go down to 6 now, and then it'll go down to 1. Yeah, that's good. Okay, what's next? Well, we could leave it like that, but the other thing is we could try some of the other choices for justify content and see how they would look with our gallery. I'm not saying one's right or wrong. Space around may be what you want. It probably is, but maybe not. Maybe you want center. So now, when it gets narrower, whoops, not that narrow. Come back here. Narrower. The stuff is kind of centered as it gets wider. See, when we go to next group, that stuff's going to be centered. And now the spacing we get is just going to be based on the margins that we put in there. So the spacing in between these are always going to stay the same. That's an option. You could do space around, space between is another option too. Try that one. Space around, space between, center. Now we get the space in between, which makes the bottom row look a little bit odd, but it's still got some, still works pretty well. And it also means we line up here on the outside edges, space between. Okay, so that's, you leave it whichever way you like it for that part of it. And now to complete the exercise, you need to write the captions. I've given you the names of these people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want you to go find out some real information about them. I want you to write real captions of a sentence or two for each one, saying who they are, their name, comma, and a little description of them, perhaps, 1 or 2 sentences, what their job is, how long they've been in the office, perhaps, something. You can do general research and find that out. Then your exercise will be complete.